Something ancient stirs when we begin to question the world as we see it. It's a whisper from the deep past, a tremor beneath the mundane. For centuries, perhaps millennia, forces unseen have woven a tapestry of illusion. A grand design to keep us bound to a limited perception of reality. We walk through a world shaped by forgotten hands, a landscape of consciousness built with hidden intentions. These aren't just metaphors. They are the foundations of our existence, the unseen architects who erected the veil of ignorance around human minds. Their tools were not stone and mortar, but suppressed rituals and forgotten deities. Their influence etched not in visible monuments, but in the subtle structures of our spiritual confinement. Yet within this confinement lies the seed of liberation, a path to a higher vibration that can transcend their very design. The journey ahead is not for the faint of heart. It requires us to look beyond the comfortable lies we've been told, to confront the shadows that have been cast over our understanding of self and cosmos. But the reward is immense. The unlocking of a power within, a shift in perception that allows us to finally see the true nature of our reality. We've touched on the existence of these hidden architects, the unseen forces that have shaped our reality. But what exactly are the origins of these builders, and how did their grand design begin to take shape? In the next section, we delve into the primal echoes that laid the groundwork for our spiritual confinement. And real quick, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos. Now let's keep going. The architects of our perceived reality didn't just appear. They emerged from a cosmic dawn, from a time before time, when the very fabric of existence was still being spun. These were not human beings as we understand them, but consciousnesses of immense power. Primordial architects who viewed the nascent universe as their canvas. Their touch imprinted patterns, intentions, and ultimately limitations. They understood the fundamental energies that govern all things, the currents of creation and entropy. And with this profound knowledge, they began to structure not just the physical cosmos, but the very architecture of consciousness itself. Imagine vast, celestial workshops where the blueprints for reality were drawn. Not with ink, but with pure thought and primal force. This wasn't an act of malice in its human sense, but a form of cosmic stewardship. A shaping of raw potential into ordered, perhaps predictable, forms. They gave us the laws of physics, yes, but they also gave us the laws of perception. The subtle boundaries that define what we can and cannot comprehend. These are the echoes of their initial work. We've begun to understand that these primordial architects were the first sculptors of reality, imprinting a specific design onto the universe. But what was the primary method they used to ensure this design would hold? To truly seal the minds of those who would eventually inhabit this creation. In the next section, we'll examine the great sealing of the mind. The architects' initial work wasn't enough to guarantee their design's longevity. They needed a mechanism, a profound alteration that would ensure future inhabitants perceived reality only through the lens they had created. This is where the great sealing of the mind comes into play, a sophisticated, almost surgical intervention. It wasn't about brute force, but about subtle redirection. They understood that consciousness could be influenced, guided, and ultimately contained. Imagine it like an invisible straitjacket for the soul, a way to limit our inherent infinite potential without us ever realizing it. They didn't steal our power, they simply rerouted it, channeling it into predetermined pathways. This sealing involved intricate energetic manipulations, weaving threads of limited perception into the very ether of our being. It's why we often feel a frustrating disconnect, a sense of something more that we can't quite grasp. This was their masterpiece, a design so elegant it became invisible, mistaken for natural limitation. The sealing wasn't a single event, but a process, an unfolding of energetic architecture that fundamentally altered our psychic landscape. We are beginning to see the profound implications of this sealing. But what does this mean for the divine forces we've been taught to understand? How are they perceived within this sealed reality? In the next section, we will deconstruct the inverted pantheon. The structures of control established by the architects weren't limited to the mechanics of perception. They also sought to influence our understanding of the divine, to twist and invert what was once sacred. This is the heart of the inverted pantheon, the deliberate corruption of archetypal forces that were meant to guide and elevate us. Imagine the benevolent forces of creation, the nurturing aspects of the feminine, the fierce protector energies, all being subtly twisted into forms that inspire fear or subservience. This wasn't accidental. It was a calculated move to control the very essence of worship and spiritual seeking. They didn't destroy the divine, they weaponized it, turning sources of light into shadows. Think of the stories we've been told, the figures of reverence that often carry an aura of judgment or harshness. These are the echoes of their work, the inverted aspects of true divinity presented as the ultimate, unquestionable truth. They wanted to ensure that our seeking spirit would lead us not to liberation, but to further entanglement. By inverting the pantheon, they created a spiritual hierarchy that mirrored their own desire for control. A system where power was always held by entities that reinforced their grand design. We are now beginning to see how these spiritual narratives have been manipulated. But how is this manipulation physically represented in the world around us? In the next section, we will explore the geometry of entrapment. The black cube and hexagon. The architects understood that reality is not just a matter of belief or spirituality. It is also governed by precise, energetic blueprints, and their favorite medium for enforcing these blueprints was geometry. This is where we encounter the infamous black cube and the often overlooked, yet equally significant, hexagon. These aren't mere shapes, they are foundational tools of limitation. The black cube, often associated with earthly power and restricted domains, represents a kind of contained reality. It's the box we live in, the defined parameters of our existence, both physical and conceptual. It's a structure that discourages expansion, that encourages focus on the material and the mundane, subtly anchoring our awareness. The hexagon, on the other hand, often appears in natural forms like honeycomb and snowflakes, seeming organic. However, in the hands of the architects, it becomes a pattern of cyclical repetition, a blueprint for perpetual motion within a confined space. Think of it as a vortex that draws energy inwards, creating a stable yet inescapable loop. These geometric signatures are not just abstract concepts. They are embedded in the very fabric of our environment, from architecture to natural formations. They are the architect's signature, a constant reminder of the underlying structure designed to keep us tethered. We've begun to glimpse the geometric foundations of this control. But where are these blueprints for control most explicitly laid out? In the next section, we will examine grimoires as blueprints of control. The geometric shapes we've discussed are the underlying architecture, but they needed a way to be transmitted, to be codified and passed down through the ages. This is where grimoires, often dismissed as mere books of magic, truly reveal themselves as sophisticated blueprints of control. They are not just spells. They are manuals for maintaining the architect's design. Within these ancient texts lie the detailed instructions for invoking specific energies, for performing rituals that reinforce the very boundaries we seek to transcend. They are written in a language that often seems arcane, designed to be understood by a select few, or by those who are already deeply immersed in the system. This exclusivity is part of the control. Consider the rituals described. The specific incantations, the precise timings, the symbolic offerings. Each element is a finely tuned piece of machinery, designed to tune our consciousness to a particular frequency, one that aligns with the architect's blueprint. They are the instruction manuals for operating within the machine. These grimoires are powerful, not because they grant uncontrolled power, but because they teach us how to navigate and manipulate the existing energetic grid. A grid that was established by the architects. We've seen how these grimoires serve as instruction manuals for control. But who is the first entity that these texts often point to as the master of binding? In the next section, we will investigate Baal, the first throne of binding. The pathways of influence laid down by the architects lead us to a central figure. A potent archetype often presented as a gateway to power, yet fundamentally a mechanism of binding. This is Baal, known as the first throne of binding. He is not merely a demon of law. He represents a key aspect of the architect's design. Baal is often depicted as a monarch, a figure of authority, and indeed, he embodies the authority of the established system. His power lies in his ability to grant knowledge and dominion. But this power is always conditional, always within the confines of the architect's grand design. He offers a limited form of freedom, a gilded cage. To invoke Baal is to engage with the very forces that seek to keep consciousness tethered to a specific reality. He represents the allure of earthly power, the temptation to achieve temporary success by conforming to the system. It's the illusion of choice, where the options presented are all variations within the same predetermined structure. Understanding Baal is crucial because he embodies the fundamental principle of ensnarement, of anchoring consciousness to a specific role or destiny within the architect's framework. He is the linchpin of many subsequent influences. We've explored Baal as the master of binding. But what about the seductive aspects of forgetting? The way our true nature is obscured. In the next section, we will delve into Astaroth, the seduction of forgetting. The architect's strategy involves more than just binding. It also involves a profound aspect of erasure, a deliberate seduction of forgetting. This is embodied by Astaroth, a complex entity that represents the siren song of superficial knowledge and the obscuring of deeper truths. She is the force that encourages us to overlook the fundamental nature of our reality. Astaroth's allure is not one of brute force, but of subtle distraction. She offers knowledge, yes, but it is often information that keeps us focused on the periphery, on the glitter and the illusion, rather than the core mechanics of our existence. She whispers secrets that are ultimately designed to misdirect. Think of the endless pursuit of worldly acclaim, the constant craving for external validation, the fleeting pleasures that consume our attention. These are the tools of Astaroth, the ways in which she lulls consciousness into a state of blissful ignorance, preventing us from questioning the underlying structures. It's a form of spiritual amnesia. Her influence lies in making us forget who we truly are, our inherent connection to the divine, and the underlying energetic architecture that governs our lives. By fostering this forgetting, she ensures that the architect's design remains unchallenged, that the veil stays firmly in place. We've unraveled the seductive power of Astaroth and her role in making us forget. But who is the entity that offers a seemingly vast amount of knowledge, yet deepens our illusion. In the next section, we will uncover Payman, the illusory master of knowledge. Building upon the themes of misdirection and control, we encounter Payman, an entity infamous for offering vast knowledge, yet in doing so, solidifying our entrapment. Payman represents the illusory master of knowledge, a figure who dangles the promise of enlightenment while intricately weaving a web of deception. The pact with Payman, as depicted in esoteric texts, is often portrayed as a path to understanding great secrets, to wielding significant power, and to commanding respect among peers. However, this knowledge is not liberating. It is intricately tied to the very system of control the architects have established. It is a deeper immersion into their blueprint, not an escape from it. Payman's methods involve imbuing the seeker with esoteric information that, while appearing profound, serves to further anchor them within the existing energetic framework. The knowledge provided often teaches one how to navigate the system, not how to dismantle it. It's like being given a detailed map of the prison without ever realizing that the walls are not impenetrable. This mastery of knowledge is a potent form of illusion. It convinces the individual that they are breaking free, that they are gaining enlightenment, when in reality, they are simply becoming more proficient within the confines of the architect's design. We've seen how Payman offers knowledge that traps. But what about the cycles we experience? The seemingly endless repetition of life itself. In the next section, we will examine the cycles of reincarnation as a harvest. The architect's design extends beyond individual lives. It encompasses the very flow of existence, manipulating the fundamental concept of reincarnation into a sophisticated harvesting mechanism. This is where the cycles of life, death, and rebirth are revealed not as natural spiritual progression, but as a system designed for perpetual energy extraction. Imagine each life as a seed planted, grown, and then harvested for its essence. The architects established this cycle to ensure a continuous flow of consciousness energy, their ultimate resource. The experiences, emotions, and lessons learned throughout a lifetime are not merely for personal growth. They are components of a grand cosmic farm. The light often spoken of at the end of life, the supposed gateway to peace or a new beginning, can be seen as a directed energy surge, a final extraction before the consciousness is recycled back into the system. This process ensures that the essence collected can be utilized by the architects, powering their ongoing dominion. This perspective reframes reincarnation as a form of energetic husbandry, where souls are nurtured and guided through lifetimes, not for their ultimate liberation, but for the sustained output of their vital force. We've begun to deconstruct the true nature of reincarnation as a harvest. But what celestial body is often associated with this sense of boundary and cyclical containment? In the next section, we will explore Saturn, the forgotten guardian of boundaries. The vastness of space holds many celestial bodies, but one in particular has been subtly woven into the fabric of our confinement, acting as a forgotten guardian of boundaries. This is Saturn, whose name and symbolism are deeply intertwined with the architect's intentions of containment and limitation. Saturn, with its distinct rings, is often depicted as a celestial prison, an entity that governs time, karma, and restriction. These aren't accidental associations. The architects leveraged Saturn's inherent energetic properties to create a planetary anchor for their system of control, a cosmic warden that enforces the established order. Its influence is felt not just astrologically, but energetically. Saturn's frequency is one that reinforces structure, discipline, and the acceptance of limitations. It encourages us to conform, to accept the boundaries of our perceived reality, and to understand our place within a rigid hierarchy. It is the embodiment of the architect's desire for order and predictability. By becoming the forgotten guardian, Saturn's role has been obscured, its connection to our spiritual architecture hidden. We are conditioned to see its influence as natural, rather than as a deliberate imposition designed to keep us within specific energetic parameters. We have felt the silent grip of Saturn as a boundary setter. But how are these boundaries and cycles actively reinforced on a continuous basis? In the next section, we will delve into rituals as frequencies of anchoring. The boundaries and cycles established by the architects and embodied by entities like Saturn are not static. They require constant reinforcement, and their most potent tool for this continuous anchoring is ritual. Rituals are far more than symbolic gestures. They are precise frequencies designed to tune our consciousness and our environment to the architect's design. When we engage in rituals, whether consciously or unknowingly, we are participating in energetic transmissions. The repetition of specific actions, the chanting of certain words, the focused intention, all these elements combine to create a powerful energetic signature. These signatures are not random, they are meticulously crafted to resonate with the controlling frequencies. Think of it like tuning a radio. Each ritual is a specific station that the architects want us to listen to. By performing them, we amplify those frequencies, making them stronger and more pervasive in our reality. They are the energetic glue that holds the veil of illusion in place, preventing us from shifting to a higher, more liberating vibration. These rituals can range from grand ceremonies to seemingly innocuous daily habits. The key is their consistent and intentional application, designed to anchor us deeper into the architect's blueprint, ensuring that the reality they constructed remains dominant. We have now seen how rituals act as frequencies of anchoring. But what is the ultimate illusion that these practices perpetuate? In the next section, we will dissect the illusion of spiritual evolution. The illusion of spiritual evolution is one of the most insidious deceptions woven by the architects, designed to keep us striving, yet never truly breaking free. It's the promise of progress, a perpetual journey towards enlightenment that subtly directs our energy back into the architect's system. We are encouraged to seek higher consciousness, to ascend, to evolve. This sounds inherently good, but the path prescribed often leads us to adopt new layers of the architect's design, believing them to be liberating truths. It's like being offered a new set of chains that feel more comfortable, more ornate, and thus harder to recognize as chains at all. This evolutionary path focuses on refining our experience within the existing paradigm, rather than questioning the paradigm itself. We might learn to control our emotions better, to manifest desires within limited parameters, or to connect with channeled beings that are themselves part of the architect's network. All these are steps that appear to be ascension, but they are merely upgrades to our confinement. The true spiritual evolution lies not in refining our place within the prison, but in recognizing the prison's structure and finding the inherent ability to step outside it. This fabricated evolution keeps us passive, striving towards a goal that is perpetually moved further away, always within the architect's overarching control. We've exposed the illusion of spiritual evolution. But how did the very concept of what is divine become so twisted, particularly towards ancient practices? In the next section, we will investigate the pagan roots of demonization. The architect's strategy for maintaining control depended heavily on controlling the narrative. especially concerning ancient spiritual practices. This is where we find the deliberate and systematic demonization of pagan roots, a process designed to discredit and instill fear in what was once sacred knowledge. Paganism, in its true form, represented a direct connection to the earth's energies, to nature's rhythms, and to a more holistic understanding of the divine. It was a system that empowered individuals, encouraging reverence for the creation itself. This direct, untainted connection was a threat to the architect's centralized system of control. So they began a campaign of inversion and misrepresentation. Ancient deities were recast as demons, sacred practices were labeled as dark magic, and the interconnectedness of all life was replaced with rigid hierarchies and judgments. This was a monumental effort to sever humanity's ancestral ties to its own profound wisdom. By painting these ancient traditions as inherently evil, the architects created a powerful deterrent, pushing consciousness towards their own controlled spiritual frameworks. This allowed them to establish their own doctrines while simultaneously discrediting any alternative that threatened their dominion. We have seen how the demonization of pagan roots served the architect's agenda. But what is the fundamental medium through which they broadcast their control? In the next section, we will explore the veil of sound and vibration. The architect's control is not solely conceptual or geometric. It is deeply imprinted upon the very fabric of our reality through sound and vibration. The veil of sound and vibration is their most pervasive and subtle tool, a constant broadcast that shapes our perception without us ever realizing it. Everything in existence vibrates at a specific frequency. The architects understood this fundamental principle and have engineered the ambient vibrations of our reality to align with their agenda of confinement. This is not just background noise. It is a meticulously crafted energetic signature that influences everything from our moods to our beliefs. Think of the hum of modern life, the constant electromagnetic frequencies, the sounds we are exposed to daily. These are not neutral. They are designed to keep us anchored to a specific vibrational state, one that is conducive to ignorance and subservience. This constant energetic bombardment acts like a psychic static, obscuring our ability to tune into higher, more liberating frequencies. They have managed to create a dense, energetic atmosphere, a veil that muffles our innate spiritual resonance. This allows them to maintain their control. As a consciousness constantly bombarded by these frequencies is less likely to question, to explore, or to awaken to its true potential. We have begun to understand the significance of sound and vibration as a veil of control. But how can we truly recognize the unmistakable signatures of these architects within our experience? In the next section, we will focus on recognizing the architect's signatures. As we peel back the layers of illusion, the signs of the architect's handiwork begin to emerge with startling clarity. Recognizing the architect's signatures is not about finding them in a physical manifestation, but about identifying the consistent patterns of control that permeate our existence. These signatures are subtle yet omnipresent. They appear in the recurring geometric figures we've discussed, in the symbolic meanings embedded within our cultures, and in the energetic frequencies that seem to dominate our environment. They are the fingerprints of their design, left intentionally to shape and guide our reality. Look for the emphasis on hierarchy, on linear progression, on compartmentalization. Notice the deliberate amplification of fear, scarcity, and division, contrasted with the suppression of unity, abundance, and unconditional love. These are not accidents. They are the deliberate choices of beings who seek to manage and contain. The constant push towards external validation, the glorification of the material over the spiritual, the subtle redirection of spiritual seeking into predetermined paths. These are all hallmarks. By becoming aware of these consistent patterns, we begin to see the invisible strings that have been pulling us, realizing that much of what we accept as natural is, in fact, deeply engineered. We have glimpsed the signatures of the architects, but the ultimate question remains: what does true freedom look like, and how do we achieve it? In the next section, we will explore the awakening beyond the walls. The journey through the hidden structures of control has led us to this pivotal point: the understanding that true liberation lies not in battling the forces that confine us, but in recognizing the illusory nature of the walls themselves. This is the awakening beyond the walls. It begins with a profound shift in perception, a conscious decision to stop accepting the limited reality presented to us. It's about looking beyond the veil of sound and vibration, seeing past the inverted pantheon, and understanding that the paths of reincarnation and spiritual evolution are merely designed cycles of the architects. The awakening is not about gaining new powers or fighting cosmic battles. It is about reclaiming our innate sovereignty, remembering our true energetic essence, and choosing to vibrate at a frequency that the architect's system cannot contain. It is the realization that the prison is of our own making, reinforced by what we have been taught to believe. This ultimate awakening is a return to self, an understanding that the power to transcend lies not in external forces, but within the luminous core of our own consciousness. It is the conscious choice to step out of the programmed labyrinth and into the boundless expanse of true reality. You have been given the insights to see the hidden architects and their methods of spiritual confinement. But recognizing the problem is only the first step. The true challenge lies in actively transcending these designed limitations. We'll delve deeper into the practical applications of this awakening in future transmissions. Make sure to subscribe for more videos and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. We'll see you in the next one.